Hey YouTube, here again to talk about things going on in the world around us. Sorry about the uh, machine noise. I'm just on my break at work. And no, I did not miss a part of my beard here. I'm just getting a gray patch, so I'm contemplating whether I should shave or I should start dyeing. Certainly leave in the shave department. Leave me a comment below and let me know what you think I should do. Anyways, regarding the subject of the video, there's been a lot of talk in the sports world now that basketball and hockey are out. Baseball's kind of in a lull. Soccer hasn't really been getting going yet. So everyone's talking about combat sports. Everyone's talking about Floyd Mayweather versus uh, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor! And the international consensus seems to be that Floyd has it in the bag. 100% success rate. There's no way Conor's going to win. And certainly I support that Floyd should be favored to win because he is a boxer who's never been defeated. He's very technical, and he's boxed Olympian boxers and world champion boxers, and Conor is an MMA fighter and doesn't really specialize in boxing. So it's basically like an amateur boxer going up against the greatest boxer in his weight that has ever competed. But I do not agree that it's in the bag. Mike Tyson has a famous quote that every person who fights should hear, and that is, everyone has a plan for a fight until they get hit, or until they get punched. And as a martial artist who's competed in sparring and who currently teaches self-defense, I can wholeheartedly tell you that no matter how good you are, anyone can get pegged. Anyone can get clipped. I know that there's basically pillow gloves. I think it's like something ridiculous, like 20 ounces or something on their hands, because Floyd is passing 40 and he has arthritis in his fingers from punching so much. It would be really, really detrimental to the life of boxing if Floyd lost. This guy who went 49-0 gets his 49-1 to someone who's not even a professional boxer. And everyone asking because of that, well, what does Floyd have to gain? He has $400 million to gain. Floyd Mayweather is making $400 million, and Conor McGregor is probably making like $100 million for this fight. So it's a ridiculous amount of money for something that is, as Bill Burr has said, something almost like when Hulk Hogan fought Rocky Balboa, a little circusy. But I will be betting on this fight because the odds are certainly in the favor of Floyd. So if by the off chance Conor wins, it'll be a big payout. I think it's currently 7-1, so if I bet $100, I make $700. Nothing, you know. I'm totally willing to make that kind of money on a $100 bet. I'd rather bet that $100 than pay $100 to watch that pay-per-view and then watch the highlights later. But again, Floyd's getting older. The Pacquiao fight, Pacquiao had one arm in that fight years ago. His arm went out in training. I think it was a dislocated shoulder or something, and they wouldn't let him take cortisone before the fight. And so Pacquiao was fighting with one arm and still debatably could have won the fight in points. I mean, it was closer than it should have for a fighter with one arm. And Pacquiao's a little over the hill too in age. McGregor-wise, just my closing thoughts on McGregor. He's a very talented MMA artist. He trains boxing a lot, but he's not professional, like I mentioned. But he has fast hands, and he has the fundamentals pretty much down. He's a great counterpuncher. And if there were one person to get a few tags on Mayweather, it would be Conor. Um, Even if they are huge gloves, if you hit someone at the right angle, the right timing, you can get them to buckle. And if Conor gets Floyd to buckle in the first couple rounds or before past the sixth round, it could be really bad for Floyd. All it takes is one good shot and then a couple follow-ups to get him down. Ultimately, I do think Floyd's going to win. I think it's going to be a little bit of, like Bill Burr has said, a circus. But I do think what might end up happening is Conor does get Floyd a little flustered, and the entire boxing community is going to take a deep inhale and hold their breath, because really the life of boxing is on this fight. If Floyd loses, it does not look good for boxing. I mean, MMA is exploded and has definitely succeeded the popularity of boxing. There's been some discussion for a couple years as to if boxing can continue at its current popularity, and it can't. It has to restructure, it has to adapt, and it can't keep doing these $500 million fights on pay-per-view. If this fight doesn't sell on pay-per-view, then definitely boxing needs to restructure. Anyways, in closing, don't listen to anyone who says it's 100% Floyd, because that's definitely not true, especially in a fight. Anything can happen, and if you do support boxing, continue to support them in any way you can, and if you support MMA, watch this fight too. Anyways, that's it for me. I am gonna bet Conor, even if I don't think he's gonna win.